Okay, good morning, everyone. So my name is Leila Barmaki, and I'm an assistant professor at Computer and Information Sciences at University of Delaware. I'm also a resident faculty of Data Science Institute. Today, I would like to share some of our proof of concepts and developmental progress towards seeing how we can futuristically envision how physical therapy gonna look like with the merge and research of metaverse virtual worlds and also using biosensing and biofeedback along the way. As Erin kindly introduced, I was also a pilot awardee in 2022. I also have been Inbury Summer Scholars mentor from the day I started my appointment in 2018. I'm really proud of that because the big part of our work has been done with undergraduate students, and I think Inbury mentorship was the key part of that. So a little bit about our team. As you see, we have a very diverse group of students, and majority of my group are it's a balance of undergraduate and PhD students, and we usually have a postdoc. A little bit about myself. I already mentioned about my appointment and also how I have been doing. My area of research is in data analytics, human-computer interaction, and I would like to apply virtual reality and immersive technologies for applications in education and healthcare. Before joining UD, I was at Johns Hopkins as a postdoctoral fellow, and then I did my PhD in computer science. So a little bit of background about why I started to do this line of research, especially along the rehabilitation. Obviously, from clinical side, we see that the world is aging, and also lots of challenges are being faced by stroke survivors, by patients with Parkinson's and neurological musculoskeletal disorders. So because of the economic burden and also societal burdens of people who are tackled with this disease, I would like to see how we can use advanced technologies for this specific problem. And the good thing about immersive technologies and virtual and augmented reality, which is becoming more and more popular, is that AR stands for augmented reality, VR stands for virtual reality. They are literally surging and merging all together in a more holistic platform, which we kind of call it Metaverse. And it's a buzzword these days because the ultimate goal is to combine real world with virtual world, and you don't know which one is which. So, but the whole idea is that using these immersive technologies, you will be able to practice lots of daily activities without even knowing, or without really need to move, or without really engage or involve in lots of other activities. So basically, these immersive technologies help you to optimize your motor learning and also work on your rehabilitation process in a very easy and engaging way. So this was the clinical motivation. The other part of the story is our own group's personal motivation. So I said I was very delighted to work with undergrads, and Sydney was one of them. So Sydney is my junior undergraduate student, and she's a figure skater dancer. So she has been doing ice skating for almost 13 years now, and she brought up some of the nice pictures from her experience with her being a professional athlete, and she started to design a lower limb training, and she shared some of the pictures from her wearing this interesting cast because it was a very severe injury. She had to wear it for almost a year. And the physical therapy was way more intense than herself. And my own story is obviously there. So I broke my clavicle. It's not as exciting as Sydney's story, but basically I broke my clavicle first week of my appointment at Johns Hopkins as a postdoc. So I ended up going to surgery immediately after joining the hospital and the medical programs there. So these were why I wanted to do this line of research. A little bit about what we have developed so far, and again, because this is it's in infancy, I didn't really have much to talk as a pilot studies or p-values and significance, but it's more of engineering and seeing like where is the project is going and also where we are headed. So in terms of the project which we want to design for kind of a collaborative physical therapy system for future of workforce and future of physical therapy, I brought up this to two sections. I think you folks are seeing my mouse, but if you don't, I can use the pin. This is actually, these are the components that, or the prototypes which we have made. These are all implemented, by the way. So when I'm saying prototype, it's just more of the language. They are all fully functional, but they just need to be more reshaped and be tested by a clinical research and clinical studies. But in general, these are the virtual world and mixed reality world platforms we have made so far. So these are for lower limb. As you see, this is Sydney, my undergrad student, which I mentioned. So she was passionate about balance training and lower limb and locomotion. So she transferred her passion in skating and training for balance to this domain. And then we had a project for upper limb, which this is the main project, which was funded by INBRI. And then my postdoc recently joined us, and he has been doing lots of work on collaboration in virtual environments. So we want to also apply his expertise to make this solution more collaborative for future generations. The second part is more on the biofeedback and multimodal piece. So we have lots of modalities, lots of devices to help us to objectively quantify what's going on in the environment, like how is the movement is happening. So for upper body, we are using smart sleeve, which is my student is wearing here. I will have to talk about it more in details, but this is in collaboration with another INBRI awardee, Dr. Eric Tostenson. And that line of research is looking into how we can use functional garments for quantify range of motion, upper limb mobility when patients are doing virtual therapy exercises. And the other upper extremity validation is coming from an exoskeleton called kin arm. This is also my colleague, also CTR awardee, Josh Kashabak at Biomedical Engineering here at UD. He has been helping us to quantify how things are going and validate very precisely like how much pressure patients are putting into movement, and also kind of gradually make the exercises more and more challenging and make it more exciting at the same time. So this is the overview of what we have done. This is also another thing that I just want to talk about. So this is also the data which we capture from trackers. So this device that the patients or participants are using while they are playing the exercises. For lower limb, we are also using Microsoft Kinect. It's not very clear, but here you can see it's offering a full body tracking. So I will talk more about it in detail, but these are some of the prototypes which I just wanted to show you. This is the kin arm itself. So we made the digital twin of the virtual therapy system that we made and shown here. So this was pure virtual reality. This is the version of that played in kin arm, and this one is actually the one which we created as the full virtual reality version of KinArm. So it is a virtual KinArm robot. So we kind of hacked the system and made a virtual robot in VR. So for example, if a patient was supposed to do some exercise using the actual robot, but we don't have access to that device, for example, at home, participants can use this alternative for their therapy. And it's very realistic. And as you see, you can see how detailed is the setup, is almost identical twin of that one. So this was the upper limb prototype. This one is also the lower limb prototype, so the one that I mentioned from Sydney's work. So she's wearing a Microsoft HoloLens right now, and she's controlling this her digital twin, basically this virtual trainer. And this is the environment she, as I mentioned, she was interested in figure skating. So they are playing in a virtual ring. So that's what the project is currently housed, but we are aiming to hopefully integrate everything together. So this is kind of a coach and trainee setup for activities like balancing, as you see here. So the other piece related to our project is more, especially in the virtual reality, is more on the collaborative part, so kind of making it metaverse-ready, I would say. So this is the one which is a very recent one. Our postdoc just joined us at the beginning of this academic year. So he has been working on lots of multi-user solutions which can be co-located, so it can be both at the same environment or can be splitted into multiple geographic locations. So for example, one could be therapist, one could be patient, or it could be a group of patients working or doing their exercises together. So the idea is that we can bring this collaboration into play. The last piece is related to multimodal biofeedback, as I mentioned. So here you have more pictures from the devices and modalities that we are using. So this is, as I mentioned, was a team effort, and it's with College of Engineering faculty, as I mentioned, with Dr. Tostenson and Kashabak. And we would like to see how virtual reality can support them, and also how their sensors can support us for validating the precision of our systems. So ideally, we would like to see how we can quantify range of motion in a more precise way using KinArm, the exoskeleton that you see here, or using Microsoft Kinect that you see, for example, is offering the full body tracking. And if a patient is wobbling, for example, it will show us accurately. And this is the smart sleeve, which you can see one of the students are doing a prototype with that. So moving forward, as I mentioned, we want to see how we can triangulate the validation of the accuracy of these sensing devices together, with VR being the main device and main medium. And we already had the approvals for conducting studies with healthy individuals for IMBRI project, and we would like to see if if the study was successful with healthy individuals, we are aiming to go for working with folks who have done studies with patients with stroke. So, and we have clinicians from Christiana Care and also Musk on board. So Dr. Woodbury is also involved on this as an advisory board. And also we want to see, especially in addition to stroke, I also proposed some ideas for Parkinson's disease. So stroke was our IMBRI focus, but we would like to see if Parkinson's disease is also another potential clinical roadmap for us. We also want to see how user engagement and patient engagement can be different when we have it single user, basically standalone versus multi-user. So as I mentioned, multi-user can be patient therapist or could be with other patients and whatnot. So that was all on my side. If you have any questions, I will be happy to take. And this was, again, from our Research Day presentation, and also Provost Carson visited us, and I was delighted to show that prototype a few days ago, actually. So with that, I will be happy to take any questions.